Hey guys, another update on the Jeep. This is going to be a 2-video night. I didn't want to combine it all into one video and make like a 20-minute long video. The last video, I talked about the leaf springs and the part numbers for them and how everybody on the forums for decades has been wrong. And I want to talk to you about what I did so far. So the gas tank, I decided to repair. I am not going to spend $250 on a new tank. I decided to repair this tank. The only thing that it had as far as holes on it was the top. You can actually see the plates that I cut out. You can see the rust. This is the outside, the inside, and the outside. So I cut these little squares out, you know, like this. So it was kind of like a Tetris piece, but I'm like, you know what, why am I making it difficult? And I just cut a big, you know, rectangle out of it. This spot had holes in it, but I decided to just fill them in with weld carefully. And I put a 22 gauge plate on top, or filled in the gap with 22 gauge steel. The tank is already thin. It's like 22, 24 gauge. It's really, really thin. So it was really hard to weld this with my flux core. I had to be very careful, and I did blow holes in multiple spots. But the problem is, because I can't bead weld it, a continuous bead, so which makes it completely sealed, the spot welding, you know, the tack welds, those are always going to have like little pinhole leaks. So I did put rubbing alcohol in here. I didn't want to put water in the tank. I put rubbing alcohol in there, flipped it upside down. Of course, it leaked through almost all the welds. So I got some of this JB Weld tank weld. This is not the steel weld or regular JB Weld. It's tank weld, because this is fuel resistant, okay? So I got that stuff. Kneaded it with gloves. Normally I don't wear gloves for this, but I did wear gloves for this. Put it all on here. You're supposed to push it really firmly, you know, to get inside the cracks and the little holes. And it's hard as a rock. This stuff is hard as a rock. Within like 40 minutes, it just got so hard. I still had like, you know, that much left, and I basically wasted that. But anyway, so this is all sealed up. Like I said, I welded these pinholes, and I also sealed it. These holes I welded, but I sealed with the same, you know, JB Weld. The bottom of the tank, it did rust down here on the bottom, but that is actually from the inside of the tank, because this is the lowest spot of the tank. You can see the lowest spot of the tank. This is where the pickup tube and the sending unit are, you know, where it tells you the level of the gas tank and where it actually picks up the gas at the bottom. So because this is the bottom of the tank, whatever water was in this tank, it did rust it out from the inside, but it's only this little tiny spot. And I know the welds look like crap. They're stacked. It's absolutely horrible. But again, this is 22 gauge, so I had to just you know, like just tack it in there and get enough metal in there to kind of sort of do like little beads, you know what I mean, without burning through it. And the reason why it's stacked like this is because I wanted to make sure that I actually sealed it with welding, not with the JB Weld putty, because this is the bottom of the tank. The top, it's not that big of a deal. It's the bottom, you know what I mean? So, but anyway, that's sealed. And I put more rubbing alcohol in there and swished it around, held it in multiple spots, and the tank doesn't leak anymore. I just need to get my wire wheel, continue, you know, cleaning the rust off of this thing, and paint it. And for the inside of the tank, I originally was going to coat it with that tank coating. You know, you pour it in there and you swirl the tank around to get it all over the place. But I've actually heard some pretty bad stories with these tank liners, that they fall apart after a few years and they get sucked up, and like, because they're like a gel or something like that, they get stuck in the fuel lines. And yeah, I definitely don't want to deal with that. The tank is actually in great shape on the inside. It's just where the welds are that could potentially rust. The bottom, not necessarily will rust, because the bottom will always be fuel, and I'll always drive this tank. I won't let it sit, you know, to collect water and stuff. So the bottom will be rust resistant, because the fuel will keep it from rusting. But the top could rust, especially if the tank is like, say, half empty and then condensation, you know, gets on there. So, but it's so thick with welds and this putty that it would take years and years and years and years to actually cause any issues. But the problem is you don't want rust in your fuel. So I'm debating, should I take off the sending unit and get some spray paint and spray paint the inside of this right here. I would paint it with like a high temperature engine paint because that stuff is fuel and oil resistant. And if I paint that, it should be okay. I'd rather paint it or leave it alone and not paint it at all than put that liner in there and have to deal with potential liner failure down the road. So rust in the fuel is not necessarily as bad as a liner failure because the rust will get captured by the fuel filter and you can always just replace the fuel filter. The liner, you can't. So anyway, the gas tank is done. I still need to cut off the mounting thing from the bottom of the bed so I can mount the one tank strap that it did have. I think like 78 or 79 had 2 straps, but 76 only had 1. I also ordered some new fuel filler hose. So there were 3 different types. Mine is like the older original style, the S type, with the vent up here. So I have to take off this metal piece so I can put it back into the new one. And this S piece connects to another metal S piece right here. And then it has a little coupler with another rubber tube or rubber hose that connects to the gas tank. So this end connects to that end of the gas. They don't sell this end though, but this end is actually pretty good. It's not cracked, it's not torn, still flexible. I mean, it's kind of hard in some spots, maybe up here, but I think I can reuse this. So, or just go to the auto parts store and try to find one that's I think it's 2 1/4 inch inner diameter. I need to find something like that, but anyway, so that's that. The tailgate, I'm going to be painting. So I got some more of this paint. This is the same paint that I painted my floorboards with. This matches this color really closely. And then I got a flat white paint or matte white paint. And I'm going to be painting the tailgate blue to kind of match the blue on the truck. And first I need to clean it all up, of course. And the white is for the Jeep because Jeep actually originally did white on the lettering. You can see it peeling off here because somebody had repainted this at one point. But the Jeep was originally white. Some of them had, I think, they might have had red. Some of them did have yellow. So I have seen pictures of the blue Jeeps with the yellow Jeep writing. It actually looks pretty good. So I mean, I already bought the paint, so I'm just going to do white for now, but maybe down the road I might change it to yellow. Who knows? I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I do the Jeep in yellow, or should I do the Jeep in white? I'm kind of trying to stick to original, and mine came with white, my original tailgate, so I'm just going to keep it white, because the truck is blue and white. It's not blue and yellow, so haven't done anything to the bed yet. I did get some seam sealer. This is the seam sealer I got from the auto parts store. I think it's going to take at least 3 tubes. All they had was 2. And this thing will not fall because I do have a top and a bottom. So I need to clean the bed out before I do the seam sealer. But the problem is, before I do that, I also have to fix this. When I looked inside the wheel well on the other side, this is actually really, really badly rusted right here. So this needs to be cut out. And I need to put a new patch in there. And then that section down here, I thought I could get away with it, but you see the holes all over the place on the bottom. I think I need to cut like another inch or so off of this and just weld another inch, of fresh steel on top. Because if I seam seal that and paint it from the other side, it might like cause issues and rust through down the road. So I need to make sure I do it right the first time. So, and then of course do a roll-on bed liner afterwards. So. But that's where I'm at. Last video was the leaf springs. This video is gas tank, tailgate, and bed sealer. So thanks for watching, everybody. Stay tuned for the next update. Thank you very much.